Hi guys, I'm back again today with another video, and today we're checking out why the new American dream is to leave America, my life in the Netherlands. So before we do start, don't forget to subscribe, click the bell button, and let's see.
So I have been living in the Netherlands for about 3.5 years now, and every time I go back to America, one of the biggest things I hear about is how the new American dream is to leave America. For example, this was when I was in Atlanta. I met this cop, and now I did not put this in a vlog, but I met this cop, and he told me that his biggest regret in life was not leaving America. And now look, this is not a diss track towards America or nothing like that. I have lived in America like pretty much my whole life. I'm from the south side of Chicago. I lived in Atlanta. I've also lived in LA for a long period of time. And I go back literally to LA, Detroit, as well as Florida, maybe, I would say almost every year. And look, I'm gonna be real. Every time I go back, I get so excited. I'm excited to see friends, I'm excited to see family, but also too, every time I go back, it does make me feel some type of way. Like I'm a little bit more on edge. I'm also a little bit more aware of what's going on around me, as well as like my kids and what's going on around them as well. Which basically brings me to my first point of what I've been hearing about why people have been wanting to leave America, and that is they don't feel safe. I can say that every time I do travel to America, everyone, the first thing they say is literally, yo, you better be careful out there. And it's like, it don't even matter where I'm going. The first thing they say, like, look, it's bad, like, be careful. And again, this is like, no matter where I go, I hear the exact same thing. But then I go, and I'm hugging the block, whether it's in Atlanta, Detroit, LA, Florida, it's not that bad. I mean, I've even been back to Chicago, and now look, turn me up a bit because look, I am not going back to the hood where I grew up. Nah, that's just ain't no point. So I'm keeping it real. I did my nickel. I ain't going back. There's just certain places I will not go. But I do see what people are saying when I do go to these places. Like, it doesn't feel the same. Like it doesn't feel safe. And it's a weird thing too, because it's not that. I mean, I know crime is high, but crime is high everywhere because of the times that we in. But there's something else about it that just doesn't make you feel safe. You could go to safe places and still feel like it's not safe, especially in the States. And that's a weird feeling, but I think I know why. Because I think it has to do a lot with infrastructure and the way the States is kind of laid out. And I believe, perfect example is like, you will never find a cafe in a neighborhood. Like, I've talked about this so many times. You could be walking the neighborhood and you just won't find it unless you're like downtown or midtown or somewhere in the city. But majority of people don't live in the heart of cities or midtown. So when you don't have that sense of community, I feel like it just hits different. Plus, you're spending all your time in a car. You're basically isolating yourself. So you're in a big old house, in a car most of the time, and then you go to work. You're isolated from just normal people. And then on the flip side of that, though, you also have the news, which is just freaking
Why am I reading
terrible.
subtitles?
Like, people in America are so afraid of everything, and it's because you look at the news, it all makes sense. Everybody's afraid of everybody else. But what's crazy is when you go and you just spend a day outside in some of these places. I mean, not the hood of Chicago pimping, not the hood. But if you just go and spend the day in a lot of these places, a lot of people are genuinely nice, but you will never get that when you're watching the news. And now you do get a different vibe when it comes to like small towns, which is super nice. Like, I love that about small towns, but most areas, not so much. And I do want to say this because I want to make myself clear. I'm not saying that America is super safe. Look, I know it is not that safe. But what I'm saying is, when you throw in the combination of the media as well as not knowing anybody, like not knowing your community that you're living in, it makes it a lot worse. Okay, I think today we were pulling up in Anna and Max to grab a coffee and get this middle segment, because I think the next one's pretty good. Plus, I like Anna and Max. And another reason that was brought to my attention of why Americans are leaving or want to leave America had to be the cost of living, because yeah, it's kind of going up. And I'm not even gonna lie, man, when I was just there, I would say when I was back in Atlanta as well as in Florida, two places that are not really known for being super expensive, I ain't gonna lie, man, just for a couple of things, it was expensive. I mean, for example, just in Atlanta, I remember going into a Quick Trip, and Quick Trip is like, it's fairly cheap. It's basically like a 7-Eleven, right? I remember going into this Quick Trip, And I don't know how, but I ended up spending maybe 15 bucks. And I didn't even buy that much. I bought like some gum, some waters, and something else. And maybe like a Red Bull and a coffee or something like that. And it was like $15. Also, not to mention, they had the audacity to ask me for a tip, which I still don't understand this. Quick side note, I will
I want
say,
to
look,
calculate how
I
much
do
is
feel like the
$15.
tipping culture in America has gotten out of hand. Like, I don't know what y'all doing. Look, I would leave America for that. But no, seriously though, I do think that just overall, I do think that, yeah, the rising cost and inflation, I mean, especially over the years, because even when I was living in
Pesos
LA, before I moved here, the
for
cost of living
gum,
was going up.
coffee. That's
But
too
I mean,
much.
again, I was straight. Like, I was good.
Yeah, I'll go back. But $15 for, let's say, coffee, Red Bull, and water and gum, it will probably cost. Obviously, we have different cost of living, so you guys will be like, yeah." But I'm just saying, right? Just to say, so we can see the comparison. It's probably probably the same brand as well of everything else. That one will cost here. Let's say that will be 100 something. Let's say that's 150 and 100 and uh, 250 pesos, let's say. And that is what? One, two, $2. Let's just say it's $3 over here. Whatever he just mentioned for $15. That's crazy. Okay, let me go back.
But no, seriously though, I do think that just overall, I do think that, yeah, the rising cost and inflation, I mean, especially over the years, because even when I was living in LA, before I moved here, the cost of living was going up. But I mean, again, I was straight. Like, I was good with money. I told y'all how I'd be spending my money. So I was good with money. I was good with my savings. So yeah, I'm Gucci. So I can't imagine though people who are not in my position where they're working one job and basically just living paycheck to paycheck, which I've kind of noticed is a theme in the States. Is a lot of people are living paycheck to paycheck. And look, I'm not a financial advisor. All I'm saying, coming from somebody who used to be poor, look, I did my nickel, I ain't going back. I will say, watch how you spend your money. I mean, that's the best advice I can give. Watch how you spend your money, because look, paycheck to paycheck is not, that's not the best idea. But yeah, but now coming back from a person who was living in LA, an expensive city, I can see how the rising cost of living can throw people off, especially the way America is designed. Like, I'm not even gonna lie. It's a big trap for spending money. I'm not even joking. If you just take a step back and look at it for what it is, they are trying to get you to spend money left and right. And a lot of people don't have that discipline. And to be honest, ain't nobody there to help you or teach you. You just gotta do it yourself. You gotta learn yourself. That is just again, just coming from a poor person, like somebody who used to be poor. But the reason I say this is because after living here for like 3+ years now, I'm starting to see that the culture here is very different. Like, they don't even have credit card scores. Like, a lot of people don't, I would say 90% of people here do not use credit cards. I mean, now I could be totally wrong. It could be maybe 80%. But what I'm saying is that's not the culture here. The culture doesn't revolve around buying things on credit. I don't know everything. I've only been here, again, like,
That's one thing that from the get go, told myself never to own. One. It's only recently I got one again because my mom is like, if you're gonna travel, you should have at least a credit card because you never know. And it's true too, you will never know what's gonna happen. So that's just for, really, really emergency. But for the longest time, I didn't like credit cards because it's just a big freaking corporational scam by the banks. So I was like, nah, but it's also really good. Like for emergency purposes, it's really good. That's one thing I'll give it a credit card for. But apart from that, don't use it. If you have the money, don't use it. Don't use it to pay your bills. Don't use it to just use a debit card or a cash card, but not credit card. Just use credit card for like super emergency. Like you cannot get money right now, you have to pay for something, then use it. Like it will make you broke.
on buying things on credit. I don't know everything. I've only been here again like a little over 3 years, but I can say a lot of people here don't use credit cards, and you don't have to tip. Like even when you go to a restaurant, no matter what restaurant you go to, you don't have to tip. And now what is interesting though too is that even here the cost of living has gone up over the years. I've only been here a little over 3 years, but I have seen the rise in cost of living. The only difference is the credit card culture and like the debt culture is not the same. It is not like in America. A lot of kids aren't coming out of school with a large amount of debt. You know, that's just not, it's just not a thing here. It's not like their education is worse than over there. It's just that they don't have a large amount of
Probably
debt.
better,
And then the
actually.
people don't use credit cards here. Like like, that's just the culture. Both places have a rise in cost of living. But I feel like Americans get hit harder because a lot of people are already in a hole because of the American culture of using a lot of debt. Versus again here, the cost of living hurts, but people are not in holes already. I mean, if nothing, these bars used to be $1.50. Now they're almost €3. Three. And now another quick side note, one of the things that like trips me out every time I go back to the States is taxes on like when you buy stuff. That is a trip. Now, if you don't know this, I don't know if you guys know, but if you don't know, when you buy something here, you buy it at the price that the taxes are already included. You buy it, those are the taxes, that's it. And now look, I don't think I've ever told this story, but back when I lived to LA, back when I first moved to LA, I drove there by myself from Atlanta, and I went there and I already had an apartment. I didn't get the apartment, but I had the apartment. I mean, I had great credit, everything was in order. There was no way I was not getting this apartment. And man, long story short, I got all my stuff in this truck, just drove all the way from Atlanta to LA, get to my apartment, and it turns out I did not get the apartment. And now this turned out to be a huge mistake. And what had ended up happening was I had ended up putting all of my stuff in storage while I waited for this to get sorted out. And look, no joke, I was putting all my stuff in storage all by myself, and I realized that I just had so much stuff. And man, this was the worst feeling I've ever had. Like, I don't even know where all this stuff came from. I moved by myself and I had so much stuff for one person. It looked like I had moved for a family of 5. And the moment I got rid of all of that crap, I felt so much better. Which brings me to another reason that I've been hearing why people wanna leave America. And that is consumer overload. And now what's so funny is that I remember when I went to Germany back in 2009, I noticed that people were a lot happier with a lot less. And I think this says a lot and is so true about just people in general. People don't need a lot of stuff.
Actually, true. It's like the more you have, the more responsibility, and it's the same. Like you think about it, if the more options you have, like in clothing, the more that you're not gonna find something that you want to wear, right? Because of so many options, you kind of like take forever to choose what you want to wear. But if you have like, let's say, 7 t-shirts, 7 pants, it's so easy to make a choice, right? Like the less, the better, and you don't have to like waste hours, days to choose an outfit. Just go with whatever and then you set, right? But if you have like closet upon closet upon closet of clothes, you're gonna take forever.
But in the States, you are a part of this consumer culture, which also goes back to a video that I made a while back of why I ain't never going broke. Like I said, people have spending problems, and it's their fault, but it's not their fault. It's the culture. We are used to spending money. That's just a fact. But on the other hand, what you'll notice with a lot of other cultures, like in like Asian cultures and European cultures, is that like just take something like the refrigerator, for example. Refrigerator, they are not these massive things because no one needs that amount of food, especially in America where nothing goes bad. You don't need to be stacking up on a lot of food. I'm just keeping it real. I mean, don't get me wrong, you need food to live, but do you need this massive refrigerator that could barely fit through like your door? No, you don't. And you realize that quick when you just go out.
Yeah, and also I noticed Americans do shop for like I don't know if it's a weekly thing. I don't think it's weekly. It looks like a yearly shopping or a monthly. Like very big on stocking things. Maybe because you have things that come in like packs, right? Because when you go to like, what do you call those warehouse places? When you go there, they have like bulks and bulks of things, right? So people just buy them in bulks, and then you need huge space for those, and secondly you need huge refrigerators for those. Not necessarily the most healthiest thing. I mean, if it's fruits and vegetables, you need to do weekly shops, right? It's not just a monthly thing. I don't know, but it's very fascinating. And I've also noticed that I like buying things every week rather than monthly, because I just love the idea of going out and then to go buy stuff, like to stock stuff, come home and then just be excited to just stock them. It's just very interesting. So I don't know. I think I like it weekly rather than buy like a freaking bazillion things.
Really fit through like your door? No, you don't. And you realize that quick when you just go out and travel and you see how other countries live. Like you see other cultures and how people do things. That also ties into the overconsumption, because what ends up happening is you get all this space, all these big things, and then you turns out you don't really need it. It just weighs you down. And again, I don't mean not to have things that you need, but I'm just saying you don't need a lot to live. And matter of fact, I still feel like I have too much stuff, but I actually don't. Like compared to my like everybody back in the States, I don't have nowhere near as much as them. But something that I have noticed is that a lot of people are waking up from this, and they don't want this culture anymore. They don't want to keep spending money on all these things or feeling like they have to spend money to have all these things. But it's such a trick, because remember, with the big refrigerator, you gotta fill it up. With the garage and the big house, you gotta fill it up. And that's what I'm saying. That's the trip. It is, the culture is just, I think people are just so tired of this overconsumption culture that I think that's another reason why people want to leave America. Like it, because having all this stuff, you feel like you're trapped. I mean, that's how I felt when I had all this stuff and I was putting it in the storage unit when I moved to LA. I felt trapped and I felt held down by just stuff that didn't even matter. And now those are my thoughts on why I think a lot of people want to leave America. But I mean, I would love to hear yours. Like for real, let me know in the comments below. For real. Is there somebody behind me? Yeah. Oh, yeah, pulling up quick. I was about to say, you don't want no problems, you know. Y'all know I'm on edge. I was just talking about it being in America, so I'm on the edge. Nah, but let me know what you guys think down below. Like, for real, I would love to know. Again, I've been living here. Oh wow, it's going on 4 years. 4 years. I mean, not quite 4 years, about 3.5. But wow, I've been here living here so long, and the more and more I live here, the more and more I learn. And what's crazy is, I'll be honest. I'm gonna just say this before I let y'all go. The longer you live like out of the country that you're from, you learn more about the country. Like I've been learning so much about where I come from and myself than like I was when I was there. It's a weird thing. I think it's one of those things where if you're just too close to the elephant, you kind of can't see it. You know what I mean? So yeah, that is something else. Like again, America's a great country. The Netherlands is a great country. Europe, yet in general, it's just an amazing place to live. Also, Asia, like, just get out and you'll see what I'm talking about. But those are my reasons I think a lot of Americans want to leave. But again, let me know what you guys think down below. And I gotta throw this out there. Everywhere has problems. So you gotta remember that. Anywhere you go, you're gonna have some problems there too. But I love living here. My kids love it here. My wife loves it here. We love traveling. We always love traveling. But yeah, we're just figuring it out just like everybody else. And yeah, I'll be honest, I'll be back in the States, not soon-ish, but pretty soon. I should be back in the States pretty soon. But yeah, this has just been like, just a trip, like for real. So I would love to know what you guys think down below. Thanks so much for watching it. I hope you guys enjoyed it, because I enjoyed making it. I will see you in the next one. Don't forget, it ain't over until we win. All right, I'll see you in the next one.
This is nice. I like this. Yeah, I feel like it's good to immerse ourselves in different cultures, traditions, or like travel if you can afford it, travel. It's nice because you don't become this ignorant person. There is one comment that I got on one of my Instagram picture. I feel like the person deleted it ASAP. Maybe they double read it and then they realize, oh, I'm dumb as fudge or whatever. I don't know. I don't understand. But you always get notifications. So even if somebody deletes something, you have the notifications, you just pull it down. But then when you go to the picture, it's gone, right? So that's what happened. This person, I also read notifications before I go check the real thing. Like, do I want to click on this and see it now, or do I want to ignore it for later? So I saw this notification on Instagram on one of my uh, pictures when I was in Japan, and then the person's like, Filipinos are dirt poor. How the fudge can you afford to travel? And I was like, is this person okay? Is this person okay? I'm not sitting here like traveling the world or super rich or whatever like everybody else. I don't know, but at least in the Filipino culture, what we do is we save up and then we travel to the places that we want to go. Yeah, uh, people in like the l- lower class, middle class, that's what we do. Okay? We're not super rich to be traveling left, right, and center. So everybody that I know, what we do is, oh, we really want to go to Japan, for example. We will save maybe a whole year or years and then we'll go. So that's what we do if we want something in life. So I don't know where this person is coming from and what they wanted, or like do they think that if you come from a third world country you don't have anything, like at the first place the person should think, where did a person get money to buy a phone, take picture and post it on Instagram, first and foremost? And secondly, if they think we're dirt poor, where did I have the money to afford an internet to post that picture in the first place, right? They shouldn't worry about Japan and all that. They should start worrying about where the famalama did I get money to pay for an internet, or do we even have internet in this part of the world? They should be thinking, right? So ignorant. So that's why it's very necessary to immerse ourselves in different cultures. And if we can afford to travel, we should do so because what we see on media is not exactly what is real, right? So maybe, yeah, people will learn, oh, yeah, Philippines is so poor and blah, blah, blah. I mean, you should come here and look for yourself. Oh, the Philippines is so dangerous, blah, blah, blah. Maybe come here and look for yourself and see, right? Instead of like trusting what you see on the media half of the time, not even half of the time, 90% of the time, false news, right? Just clickbait. You just want the viewers bait. I don't know who that person is, if the person watches this channel or not or whatever, but I hope they didn't delete the video because I want to go to their page and see where this is coming. Is this coming from hate, jealousy, or just ignorance? I hope it's ignorance, right? That's better than the other two. But anyways, beautiful peeps. Yeah, hopefully I can post again tomorrow. I'm very busy working so that I can save, so that we can go to probably somewhere in Europe. Europe is gonna be a hard one because obviously we have a Filipino passport and it's really really hard for us to get like visa, just because obviously we don't come from the rich countries, so it's really hard, but hopefully we can make it one day, and yeah, we will see probably the Netherlands. Cross fingers, knees and toes, right? Anyways, beautiful peeps, I hope I can post tomorrow. I'll see you. Click the notification so you know whenever I do upload. Bye.